Yo, it's Gams here, and this is my Balanced Druid video guide for Season 3. I won't go super in depth on a lot of specific stuff, and I'm also just cover what is changing going into the new season and the state of Moonkin. For the tier sets in Season 3, Blizzard decided to try something new, and they made separate tier sets for each hero tree. The Elune's Chosen tier set revolves around casting and generating AP with Starfire, and proccing free Star Search casts that give you a stacking buff that you consume with either Fury of Elune or Full Moon. Consuming it increases your damage based on the amount of stacks you had from the buff. The buff is capped to 6 stacks at a maximum of 24% damage increase when it's consumed. The Keeper of the Grove tier set spawns a Dryad for 10 seconds after pressing CA or Incarn that does some damage. 3% of all the damage you do during the 10 seconds the Dryad is active gets put into a pool and increases the damage of your next 2 Star Search casts after the Dryad is gone. This pool is currently capped to be 10 times your intellect whenever the Dryad fades. At item level 715, you have around 120,000 base intellect, which means you will have to do 40 million damage during those 10 seconds in order to hit the cap. This is not very hard to achieve, and it provides you with some very bursty moments. There has been a lot of back and forth with the tier set during the PTR, where Blizzard has pushed numerous tuning passes or undocumented hotfixes to make this tier set be in an acceptable spot. Keeper of the Grove is currently the best option in Raid over Elune's Chosen, while Elune's Chosen is the better option in M+ content, which means that nothing has actually changed from last season in what you play where. There's only some minor rotational changes for Keeper of the Grove in Raid. For the regular single target Raid build for Keeper, you play Solo the Forest over Touch the Cosmos, and you take Astronomical Impact for the crit damage amp, which helps with your empowered Star Surges. And you take potent enhancements in the hero talent tree for the reduced recharge duration on CA in order to help you line up your cooldowns. Taking Grove's Inspiration is probably better based on some timers in Raid. We will kind of have to see how it goes during progress. Same with taking Bounteous Bloom over Early Spring. This can just come down to timers in Raid. For your M+ talents, this is most likely what you'll end up using, which is basically the same as you used in Season 1 and Season 2. You can probably take off Umbral Inspiration in some cases and take Astronomical Impact instead. Umbral Inspiration has lost some value since last season, since you lost the Season 2 tier set, which means that Starfall just does a lot less damage now. As for the actual rotational changes with Keeper of the Grove in Raid, the main idea is to use both of your CA charges in the opener. After you do double Wrath into Starfire and put your dots up, like usual at the start, you press CA with Trinket and whatever pot you have. You Star Surge twice, and then you Force of Nature into Convoke. And as your first Dryad is dying, you press CA again to spend your 2 Star Surges. And then it's just a lot of pooling AP and then spending whenever you can to not overcap in order to spend your 4-piece as your second CA is ending. So you do double Wrath into Starfire, you Moonfire, Sunfire, CA, Pot, Trinket, Star Surge twice, Treant, Convoke. And then you wait, spend like once, you wait for this to die, Star Surge, and then you start building again. You re-dot whenever. And as this has died, you Star Surge twice before your CA ends. And then after that, it's just regularly scheduled, like spend for Star-Lord, cycle Eclipse, re-dot, press Treants whenever you're in a new Eclipse and it's possible to press. The opener does get a little bit easier if you have Bounteous Bloom, but the talent is like a side grade with Early Spring, so it will probably just depend on some timers. But it does get easier to play with Bounteous Bloom, just because of the sheer amount of astral power it generates. As for Mythic Plus rotation, not much has actually changed. You still play Elune's Chosen. When you approach a pack, you still Moonfire and Sunfire everything. Moonfire when the tank is gathering mobs, and then use Sunfire when mobs are stacked on top of each other. And then you Moonfire whatever stragglers are left. And you press Igguard with trinkets, spend your Dream State stacks. You press Warrior of Elune, you spend those, and you free your Elune off cooldown. The only thing is more of an emphasis on generating astral power with Starfire. So you don't want to overcap, but you never really wanted to overcap anyway. There's not really much else to that. There's some min-max you probably can do with like Sundered Firmament, but none of that actually matters a whole lot. The main thing with the Elune's Chosen is just to always be casting, have good uptime. Don't be caught straggling, don't cancel casts and stuff like that. That's basically it for Elune's Chosen in M+. If you've watched this video and you have any like further questions about Moonkin, you can always go to the Dreamgrove Compendium that will be updated before the raid releases. It has some links to sims for the tier set, different tier set values, the race rule values. Tauren for Keeper of the Grove is simming very well right now because of the crit damage amp. If you have more questions about like rotation, most of that is written down in here. There's some new stuff with talents on how these look. And I also added a SimC code directory at the bottom. So you can like open this and you get code to put in advanced below your add-on output for SimC in order to sim like if you want to sim the different racials for yourself and your setup, you can use this code, paste it in advanced. Same with simming the different tier set values. You also probably may have to change the talents for some of them, since you had to take different talents for the Keeper 4-piece and Elune's Chosen talents in order to make the tier sets work in the code. There's also item strings. This is just a high item level profile with every item that's available in the bag, just to make it easier for Top Gear Sim. I just thought I'd show that. There's a trinket list like usual, just regularly scheduled Dreamgrove Compendium. Here's a regular talent sim. You can see that Bounteous Bloom on this iteration was a little bit better. There's some iterations that are taking New Moon, but if New Moon is within margin of error, I don't think it's actually worth taking. This iteration also took Touch the Cosmos over Soul of the Forest, which could be worth it, depending on just personal preference, really, what you want to play. Some also take Stellar Flare, which I know some players don't like playing. I do recommend not taking New Moon, though. New Moon is not very fun to play, especially in Keeper of the Grove. And that was basically it from me for this patch. If you have any further questions that wasn't covered in the guide and is not in Compendium, then you can leave one in the comments below, or you can DM me and maybe I will answer. You can usually find me shitposting in the Dreamgrove Discord, and you can catch me live on Twitch sometimes when I bother pressing the start streaming button. And yep, that was basically it.